Have you ever wondered what it's actually like to live in Bali as a digital nomad in 2025? Well, I've just spent 8 weeks here, 4 weeks in Canggu, now 4 weeks in Ubud, and I can give you my honest breakdown of what it's actually like. From cost of living, to accommodation, to Wi-Fi, to community, to productivity. I'm going to break it all down for you in this video today so you can make an informed decision if you're going to do this digital nomad thing here in Bali. So, first of all, I want to break down for you, why did I come to Bali in the first place? So, I'm travelling here with my girlfriend and we've travelled around Southeast Asia. We've lived in Vietnam and Thailand before now. But Bali is the one that stood out in terms of looking online and finding out about the digital nomad lifestyle in Southeast Asia. Bali really stands out as a bit of a hub for digital nomads, entrepreneurs, and people in our position basically. I run an e-commerce business. I help people automate e-commerce businesses. And I'm running my business, I'm in my 20s still. And that means that I really feel like people like me are in Bali, and I certainly found that in Canggu, more so than Ubud. It's definitely a place for people just like that. And so we're looking to find a place that is exactly set up for us as nomads. So it's great for being productive. There's people that we're inspired by around us. There's great co-working spaces, good Wi-Fi, amazing villas. That's what we're looking for in a place. And Bali clearly has that. And clearly there's a reason why it's got such a reputation online about why to live here. But I want to break down the pros and cons as I go through this video, but that's so you know why we've moved out here in the first place. So let me break down what a day in the life looks like when living in Bali as a digital nomad. So you wake up in a villa like this. This is a typical kind of accommodation, certainly in Ubud that you might live, or maybe you live in a guest house, but villa lifestyle is definitely the way it is in Bali. That's the same in Canggu as well. Wake up in a place like this, maybe have a dip in the pool, feel very inspired by being in such an incredible place, very, very grateful to be somewhere like this. You then go to a gym. The gym culture is massive here in Bali. You then maybe go to a beach if you're in Canggu, or in Ubud, you might go into the centre of Ubud, maybe go to a nice cafe for lunch, and then maybe go for a walk. There's a ridge walk not too far from here in Ubud. Obviously, if you can stand the heat, if it's not too hot, then you could do that. And then we come back to the villa, maybe have another dip in the pool, and then do some work in the villa, or stay out and work in a co-working space. And that's a typical day. We're looking to be really productive with our businesses, and so we want to really focus on work a lot of the time, but also enjoying the place, enjoying the gym and the health club at the same time. So that's typical day to day. When we're not so work focused and we want to have a day off, then we would go to the local tourist places in Ubud or Canggu. There's not so much in Canggu, more so in Ubud. But you can go to waterfalls, you can go to rice terraces, you can go further afield to different islands if you want to from Bali as well. So there's lots of options, and that's what day to day looks like. It's going to depend on what you want to get out of it. So we want to get out of it working, and so we make a lot of our day around work. But if you want to be here for health clubs, then that's perfect for you. If you want to be here for exploring, then you can do a lot of that as well from a place in Bali. So let's talk about working from Bali, because that's going to be a clear focus for a lot of digital nomads. And what's something that's really important is Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi, we found, has been fantastic. In the villas that we've been staying in, it's been absolutely perfect. But obviously we are always checking with the Airbnb owner before we book a place if the Wi-Fi is going to be amazing, so we've not got any surprise when we turn up. But on the whole, the Wi-Fi has been absolutely fantastic, and it is the same in the majority of cafes that we've been to as well. And obviously co-working spaces is fantastic there as well. We have a health club membership here in Ubud. The Wi-Fi there is fantastic, and it's very common to see people in cafes with laptops out. So you're very much at home if you want to live the digital nomad lifestyle and working in cafes. We've worked mostly from our villa, so as long as you've got a good Wi-Fi in your accommodation, then you're well set up to get on with running your businesses or growing the business that you've got set. After being in Thailand, I've definitely found it easier here with Wi-Fi and a lot less power outages. We had power cuts in Thailand just because we were on islands, so we were on Koh Samui and Koh Phangan in Thailand. So maybe I'm doing Thailand a disservice, but we had a few power cuts there. And we did have one power cut in Canggu that lasted for about 5 or 6 hours. So there is that issue as well. On the whole, you're okay. The most important things to look out for is good Wi-Fi in your villa and amazing aircon. It's so crucial. We've got great aircon here. It's so important that you've got a good aircon. If you don't, it's really not going to be a productive environment. Okay, now in terms of accommodation and cost of living, We stayed in nice villas like this with swimming pools. This place is a 2-bed villa. And in Ubud, it cost us about £1,400 for 4 weeks to find that. In Canggu, it was the same price, but that was only a 1-bed. It had 2 bathrooms, but 1 bed, a pool as well. But again, a nice environment, and that's the expected cost if you want to have a private villa. If you want to be cheaper than that, then it would be a guest house where you still get access to great facilities, but you're sharing the house with other people. But we're looking for a place where we want to have a private space between the 2 of us. We want to have 2 working spaces. So we want to be living in a real nice environment, and that's why we're willing to spend a bit more. But that's kind of average for this kind of villa in Bali. Obviously, when you split that between 2 people, then that's like £700 or £750 each. So if you're travelling on your own, you can expect to pay somewhere between £500 to £1,000 on accommodation. If you're travelling as a couple, then obviously you can start staying in amazing places like this and at still a reasonable cost per person. In terms of cost of living, food prices are amazing. So we eat out or get a delivery for lunch and dinner every single day. And that costs between £5 to £7 per meal, depending on what you're getting and where you're eating from. But that means you haven't got to do the cooking prep, so we can be focused on work and just get food done for you for £5 to £7 per meal. It's incredible, so we can eat out for lunch and dinner. Obviously, times that by the month. If you do lunch and dinner every single day, times about average of about £6 per meal, and that will give you your monthly cost to expect if you're going to eat out all the time. It's very, very affordable. There's lots of options, especially Canggu for restaurants is incredible. Now, on to the next section. So health and wellness, what's that like in Bali? Well, there's definitely a culture here to look after yourself. So many gyms. Gyms are always like pretty busy because it's such a culture over here for people to go to the gym. And we found it very easy to get into nice gyms, really look after our body and just fit in with the culture that's over here of going to the gym and looking after yourself. So that's here. You can definitely eat healthy. There's healthy options, and yeah, it's pretty simple to get into the gym and get into a good routine. What I do need to mention though about Bali is there's a decent chance that you'll be struck down by illness while you're over here. So I've had Bali belly a couple of times in my 8 weeks. Not super severe. I've not had to get on a drip or anything like that or go to hospital, but I've had upset stomachs. My girlfriend's also been through some illnesses. So it's something to be aware of, is if you do choose Bali, it seems to be a bit of an expectation that if you come here, there'll be a chance that you'll get ill. And that is unfortunately very disruptive. If you're getting into a gym routine and you're being really healthy, if you are ill, it's going to wipe you out of the gym for a week. So maybe let me know in the comments if you've been through a similar ordeal when coming to Bali. But it definitely is a thing. It's not just a problem that's made up on the internet. It is very easy to get ill. We've been checking reviews before we eat anywhere or order any food, and we're finding that every food place has at least 1 or 2 food poisoning reviews. And so we actually are choosing now based on which has the least food poisoning reviews. Maybe it's only got 1 or 2, rather than a place that's got 10 food poisoning reviews. So it shows that there is clearly a problem. And it's difficult to identify which places has the issues, because if you eat out twice a day and then you get ill the next day, it's hard to say which one it was. So it's hard to pin down what it is. But there's definitely an issue, and that is something to be aware of before coming here. So take care, check the reviews before you eat anywhere. Make sure you don't use any of the tap water, of course, and just be careful with where you eat and what you eat. Now, on to community and social life. Canggu has been the best place that I've been so far, and we've lived in Madeira, we've lived in Montenegro, in Spain, in Vietnam, Thailand, and now Bali. But Canggu, Bali has been the best place that we found to be just full of people in the same age range, like 20s and 30s, running online businesses. There's so much, it's so easy to meet people over there that are doing that, because that seems to be the thing to do if you're in Canggu. I think the reason for that is because Canggu isn't a tourist hotspot. There's not loads to see or loads to do in Canggu. It's really just set up for people that are working abroad because of all of the cafes, the co-work spaces, the villas, and the fact that people like us, like entrepreneurs, they flock together in places. And so it's just become a hub where, I don't know how it started, but a group of people started clearly, and then they get their friends over there, and then they get more people over there because they're already there. And so it has just grown to become this hub of online business in the world. And I've never seen anything like it. So Canggu is really easy for digital nomad communities to get involved in. Obviously, we've travelled as a couple, so we've not been actively looking for communities as much as you would if you were a solo traveller. But I can say for sure, if you are going to travel on your own, you've got no problems with getting to know people that are entrepreneurial in this age range in Canggu. In Ubud as well, there's definitely people over here, lots of people with laptops in cafes, but I've just found Canggu the best place so far that I've been in the world for digital nomad communities. Now, in terms of transport and getting around, very simple. The majority of people hire a scooter, and I believe scooters are pretty cost effective depending on what model you get. So that's very easy to get around if you get a scooter. Now, I've decided, and between my girlfriend and I, we've decided that we don't want to hire a scooter. So we haven't had to hire a scooter for 8 weeks. I've got no experience riding a bike, and so I didn't want to chance it, because you see all these Instagram videos or TikToks of people covered in bandages, and you see it a little bit when you're out here as well, because it's so easy to have mistakes and accidents. So I've decided that no point doing that. So we've just been getting Grab. So you get the app on your phone, you just use Grab, and you can order a bike or a car, and they'll come to you within a few minutes and take you wherever you want to go. So the gym that we've got memberships at is about a 15-minute ride away, and it only costs us 75p to get on the back of a bike each to get there and go to the gym. So super cost effective, super easy. It's also a great way to get to know some locals if you don't have a bike, because you speak to the Grab drivers, and that's been good to get to know some places. Also, when we're on the back of the Grab, we also got to know some Grab drivers that were also drivers, as in they drive a car on the weekend and they do private tours. And so the private tour, the person that took us around on the waterfall tour and the rice terraces, we found him through jumping on the back of a Grab, and he was a really lovely guy with great English, and he's took us around some of their sites as well. So it's a great way to get to know some locals and learn about the country as well. Always felt safe on the roads because we're on the back of a Grab of a local, and I wouldn't feel safe on the roads if it was me riding the bike. Now, in terms of things to do, so when you're having a day off or on the weekends and you want to go and explore, there's loads to do in Ubud, particularly. So particularly if you like nature, then that's amazing in Bali, because you can see the nature through the rice terraces, through the waterfall tours. Also, you can go to a place called Kretja, where we spent some time, where there's like an infinity pool that overlooks the rice terraces. Also from Canggu, there's not so much to do in Canggu itself as a tourist activity exploring, apart from obviously seeing rice terraces, and there are some great beach clubs and that sort of thing, and the beach is there. But really, from Canggu, the things to do is to go and see the local islands, so like Nusa Penida or the Gili Islands or Lombok. There are places you can go. We haven't done that, but from speaking to people in Canggu, the kind of things you do is you go and take a weekend trip to Uluwatu, or you'd go to a local island that looks beautiful. So yeah, plenty of things to do. We've definitely found that Ubud has got more things to see. It also feels like more of Bali culture in Ubud. So if that's important to you, if you want to see temples, if you want to see more locals, then Ubud is the place for that. But it's also lots more tourists here and backpackers. Whereas Canggu is literally a place for digital nomads and people that are working online. And I didn't get the feeling it was as much of Bali culture, because there's so many Western people and so many Western cafes and restaurants over there. So let me now go through my pros and cons of living in Bali as a digital nomad in 2025, so you can make your own mind up. So the pros is definitely the community and being inspired by successful people, and really successful people in and around Bali all the time. Raising your mindset, seeing what's possible is amazing for that. Reliable Wi-Fi, great cafes to work at, no-brainer in Bali. Having a really healthy lifestyle is fantastic, very, very affordable. Living in villas like this is probably the best place in the world so far that I've found for finding very affordable, high-quality villas. There's villas everywhere. Obviously, you've got to ask the Airbnb owners about the Wi-Fi speed, ask them if there's any construction noise around, because it's very common for construction in Bali right now. So always ask ahead. But if you ask the right questions and book a good Airbnb with good reviews, there's amazing accommodation here. The gym and wellness scene is world class, and it's pretty easy to build in a productive routine for you to build your business. Now, the cons of Bali is definitely the Bali belly. That issue is very real, and getting ill is unfortunately far too common, and that is a low point of Bali. So it does affect your training in the gym, it affects your energy, it's going to affect your productivity for the time that you're ill. And we found, even though we've been very careful, it's still easy to get ill. So that's definitely a con. Canggu itself is not like a tropical paradise. that you might think of when you like see Bali in the pictures. So when we went to Canggu, we came from Koh Phangan in Thailand, which is genuinely a tropical paradise. It's the most beautiful island in the world that I've ever been to. White sand beaches, palm trees, unbelievable jungle. And then we came to Canggu in Bali, and it's not a tropical paradise. You have to leave Canggu, the centre area really, to see the beauty of the nature of Bali. So just don't get your hopes up thinking that Canggu itself, if you come there, is going to be beautiful all the time. Yes, there are beautiful areas, but it's not as beautiful as some of the tropical paradises and the photos that you'd see online. So those are the downsides. I'm nitpicking a little bit and I don't want to be ungrateful at all, but I just want to be realistic with some of the things that we found about Bali since being here. So after all that, weighing up the pros and cons, would I recommend it? Yes. And not only would I recommend it, but I know that we're going to come back here later in the year as well. So there you go. I'm putting my money where my mouth is, not just saying, yes, I recommend it, but I also are going to come back. Even considering the health issues, it is by far and away, so far from what I've found, a great location to get around people that inspire you. People in their 20s and 30s building online businesses. It's fantastic for that. And there's great quality villas, very, very affordable. The gyms are great. So some really big pros as to why I would recommend this to you. But you need to take it into consideration. There are some cons. There are reasons why this wouldn't be perfect for you if you have any health issues. It's probably a risk to get involved with the food. And also if you don't want the busyness of Canggu, if you don't want lots of people around you working, if you don't want if that's not for you, if you want to just be in nature, and if you want just peaceful place to work, then maybe it's not the best place in the world. But it's somewhere that I think I'd definitely be coming back to, although it's not absolutely perfect. So the key really is to know exactly what you're coming for and to know what you want to get out of it. And if Bali slots into what it is you want to achieve, then it's the perfect place for you. So with that said, hope that's covered questions in your mind about whether you should come to Bali as a digital nomad. If you've got any questions, let me know. And as I mentioned before, my business is automating and outsourcing e-commerce businesses for people. It's what I've done, it's what's allowed me to live abroad. And so if you have an e-commerce business and you want me to help you out with automating and outsourcing, then feel free to book a call or send me a message on Instagram. I'm more than happy to send you some resources to help you out. Okay, with that said, hope you enjoyed the video today. Hope this gives you some context about whether to come to Bali or not. And I'll see you in the next video.